Good afternoon, book readers. This is one of my favorite all-time books, and I want to share it with you because it was very influential in most of the decisions that we were making in our lives. The book is called The Millionaire Next Door. It says, The Surprising Secrets of America's Wealthy. When I was reading through this book, it's not just the Americans wealthy, but wealthy in general. How people who accumulate wealth, they do it in a certain way which we as most Americans don't realize that living frugal, living below your means, can actually get you to a state of becoming financially free. So this book has taught me that you can live frugally, still have a great lifestyle, and you can also accumulate wealth by doing sophisticated, smart investing as well. So let's go into this book. The authors is Thomas J. Stanley, Ph.D., and William D. Danko, Ph.D. as well. This book was the New York bestseller, so it's pretty popular. A lot of the self-help gurus kind of refer to this book. So I just want to go through with you the table of contents, the introduction, which we will touch on briefly. Chapter 1, which is Meet the Millionaire Next Door. Chapter 2, Frugal, Frugal, Frugal. Chapter 3, Time, Energy, and Money. Chapter 4, You Aren't What You Drive. Chapter 5, Economic Outpatient Care. Chapter 6, Affirmative Action, Family Style. Chapter 7, Find Your Niche. And Chapter 8, Jobs, Millionaires versus Heirs. Now, I wrote down a couple of notes here. I just want to hit on some of the key topics that I thought that this book can benefit you here in a short video. But while I was reading through this book, I found that the introduction was very enticing to read the remaining chapters of the book. So let me just read to you a few paragraphs so you know what's in it a little bit more. It says, 20 years ago, we began studying how people became wealthy. Initially, we did it just as you might imagine, by surveying people in so-called upscale neighborhoods across the country. In time, we discovered something odd. Many people who lived in expensive homes and drive luxury cars did not actually have much wealth. Then we discovered something even odder. Many people who have a great deal of wealth do not even live in upscale neighborhoods. That small insight changed our lives. It led one of us, Tom Stanley, out of the economic career, inspired him to write 3 books on marketing to the affluent in America, and made him an advisor to corporations that provided products and services to the affluent. In addition, he concluded research about the affluent for 7 of the top 10 financial service corporations in America. Between us, we have conducted hundreds of seminars on the topic and targeting the wealthy. Question: why are so many people interested in what we have to say? Because we have discovered who the wealthy really are and who they are not. And most importantly, we have determined how ordinary people can become wealthy. What is so profound about these discoveries? Just this: most people have it all wrong about wealth in America. Wealth is not the same as income. Let me repeat this again. Wealth is not the same as income. If you make a good income each year and spend it all, you are not getting wealthier. You are just living high. Wealth is what you accumulate, not what you spend. Very, very good introduction. And also, wealth is more often the result of a lifestyle of hard work, perseverance, planning, and most of all, self-discipline. I want to skip to page 3, which is the 7 factors. The authors go into who becomes wealthy. Usually the wealthy individual is a businessman who has lived in the same town for all his adult life. This person owns a small factory, a chain of stores, or a service company. He is married once and remains married. He lives next door to people with a fraction of his wealth. He is a compulsive saver and investor. So the 7 factors that they go into with this book is they live well below their means. Let me repeat that. They live well below their means. Number 2, they allocate their time, energy, and money efficiently in ways conducive to building wealth. Number 3, they believe that financial independence is more important than displaying high social status. Number 4, their parents did not provide economic outpatient care. Number 5, their adult children are economically self-sufficient. Number 6, they are proficient in targeting market opportunities. And number 7, they chose the right occupation. Just a little insight on what's in the content of this book. Now, chapter 1, I just want to go through chapter 1 because the author tells you who the millionaire next door is and who they're not. I want to read to you this one paragraph. It says, ask a typical American the question, who looks more like a millionaire? Would it be our friend, our trust officer, or one of the people who participated in our interviews? We would wager that most people by a wide margin will pick the trust officer. But looks can be deceiving. Here's a good story here. This concept is perhaps best expressed by those wise and wealthy Texans, again, we're from Texas, Texans who refer to the trust officer type as big hat, no cattle. If you don't remember anything from this video, just remember this section right here. Big hat, no cattle. We first heard that this expression from a 35-year-old Texan. He owned a very successful business that rebuilt large diesel engines. But he drove a 10-year-old car and wore jeans and a buckskin shirt. He lived in a modest house in a lower middle class area. His neighbors were postal clerks, firemen, and mechanics. After he stabilized his financial success with actual numbers, this Texan told us, he said, "My business does not look pretty. I don't play the part. I don't act it. When my British partners first met me, they thought I was one of the truck drivers. They looked all over my office, looked at everyone but me. Then the senior guy of the group said, 'Oh, we forgot. We're in Texas. I don't own big hats, but I have a lot of cattle.'" Let me repeat this again. I don't own big hats, but I have a lot of cattle. Pretty interesting. So looks can be deceiving. Okay. The authors want to paint a portrait of what a millionaire is in regards to their surveys. So some of the things that kind of jumped out to me, which I want to share with you. I don't want to share all the bullet points, but just a few of them. Most millionaires, they say, we live well below our means. We wear inexpensive suits. We drive American-made cars. Only a minority of us drive a current model year automobile. Only a minority ever leases a motor vehicle. It goes on, and the next bullet point is, most of our wives are planners and they're budgeters. In fact, only 18% of us disagree with the statement, charity begins at home. Most of us will tell you our wives are a lot more conservative with money than we are. Also, one bullet says, we have a go-to-hell fund. In other words, we have accumulated enough wealth to live without working for 10 or more years. Thus, our net worth is $1.6 million, could live comfortably for more than 12 years. As a group, we are fairly well educated. Only about 1 in 5 are not college graduates. Many of us hold advanced degrees. 18% have master's degrees, 8% law degrees, and 6% medical degrees, and another 6% of Ph.D. degrees. It says here that most of the millionaires are investors, but we make our own investment decisions. We make our own investment decisions. Also, this paragraph is pretty interesting. They said, what would be the ideal occupation for our sons and daughters? Okay? There are about 3.5 millionaires households like ours. Our numbers are growing much faster than the general population. Our kids should consider providing affluent people with some valuable services. The millionaires want their sons and daughters to be attorneys, accountants. They want them to go into law, tax advisors, and estate planner experts. Wealthy define this book. It says, ask the average American to define the term wealthy. Most would give the same definition found in Webster's dictionary. Wealthy to them refers to people who have an abundance of material possessions. An abundance of material possessions. We define wealthy differently. We do not define wealthy, affluent, or rich in terms of material possessions. Many people who display a high consumption lifestyle have little or no investments, appreciable assets, and income-producing assets, common stock, bonds, private businesses, oil and gas rights, or timberland. Very, very interesting on what we think what millionaires are. They have all these material possessions, but in fact, they may not have a dime in the bank. Okay? Also goes on to says, most American millionaires are first-generation rich. They do not spend time worrying about whether or not their parents are wealthy. They do not believe that one must be born wealthy. Chapter 2 talks about how people can be frugal. Frugal means living well below their means, but also having a great lifestyle. Okay? So just because you have money doesn't mean you have to spend it and act like you have money. Be frugal, guys.